Welcome to our first podcast. We are Children of Film, a new channel dedicated to talking about film. I'm your host, Jacob, and here is your lesser host, Jaren.
Thank you, Jacob. I don't really appreciate the remark, but, I'll take it on the chin, as this is our first podcast, and I'm also, what am I, 20,000 Ks away from you, so I can't belch you at this current time.
Yeah, we're recording this from two different places, so if it goes horribly wrong, it's our first show, bear with us. And if it goes horribly right, well, we did that on purpose because we are that good. But, exactly. we are Children of Film, the name, I don't know, I guess we see ourselves, we've been raised by film, it's shaped the later part of our lives. We're not very old, but we're not children.
Jacob is a child.
And, could also be a play on words with the movie Children of Men, which is one of my favourite movies, and we are losers. But anyway,
we are not shy to admit that we literally tried hundreds of movie pun titles, hundreds.
Yeah, and most of them did not work.
Most of them are taken.
One of my rejected name suggestions was the movie of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. I think it's a bit long. It doesn't roll off the tongue too nicely, but it's a good movie anyway. But yeah,
the film from Uncle. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, but anyway, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Namely, Doctor Strange discussion. We both got to see the movie a couple days ago, and
we got to saw it.
Yeah, we saw it, and we saw it good. And we got that to talk about and a lot more. So we're going to get into this week's movie news, some of the biggest stuff that interested us. And a big one happened this week. Tim Miller dropped out of Deadpool 2, which it pretty much looked like he was a lock-in to come back for it. But he left. He disagreed with Ryan Reynolds on something. It might have been the casting of Cable or something. But we heard recently that we've got a replacement.
Yeah, so, maybe this replacement, it's John Wick's David Leitch, so maybe it'll be a replacement, maybe not. It's not 100% official yet. It seems like he is in talks, though. I mean, there's articles and articles about him. The man's everywhere, but, we'll have to see how that goes. I'm pretty disappointed in this because, Tim Miller, he did such a good job with the first one. Not that it was all his doing, it was Ryan Reynolds' passion project. He's the one who got it off the ground. It is lots of reports that Tim Miller's actually the one who leaked the footage, but obviously the script was basically the main point, which was not by him at all, but he basically just held the camera and pointed it where he wanted to go. But, there's a lot more to it than that, and I am sad to see him leave, but maybe that means we'll get a different take on the character, which is interesting.
Yeah, over the last couple days, a lot of names were thrown around, like Matthew Vaughn, Edgar Wright. There was a petition to get Quentin Tarantino to do the movie, which I don't know about that one, but we've got looks like David Leitch. He co-directed John Wick. He's a stuntman. He's worked on stuff like V for Vendetta and I think Fight Club even, but he did a great job with John Wick. He's not doing the second one. The other guy, I think Chad Stahelski's doing the second one alone, and he is directing another movie that is set to come out next year. I cannot remember the title, but look, he did a great job of John Wick. That movie does have a sense of humor, obviously not to the crazy meta level of Deadpool, but it's good that they're getting someone who's not a big established name. Like Tim Miller, it was his first movie, and he just came in, he understood the character, and he knocked it out of the park, and there's no reason this couldn't happen as well. But if you could pick anyone, your dream director, to make Deadpool 2, who would you pick?
Mate, listen, I know you disagree with me, but if I were to pick so there's a guy coming out, his name's Edgar Wright. He's a little director, hasn't made much, Edgar Wright, whatever. I mean, I know that he's making original content. All of the original content is just fantastic, but I would just love to see his quick, fast, just way of filmmaking on a Deadpool film. I think it would be so meta, especially the way they did Scott Pilgrim, and I just think that it would be a really cool thing for him to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather see the guy keep doing his own original stuff because all four of his movies that he's made are among my favourite movies of all time. And
who says this won't be?
Yeah, but the thing is, I want to see him do original content. Deadpool is gonna be tied down by studio constraints. It's gonna be written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, no matter who directs it, and that's gonna be a good part of it, no matter what. And I just want to see Wright create his own stories.
I want him to do what he wants to do, and for many years he wanted to do Ant-Man, which obviously is going to be a studio-run film. Obviously he got driven away in the end, but he had that drive and passion to do a Marvel superhero film. I don't see why he would want that to do if, like, he would not want to do it again if this time the studio worked it out with him.
Yeah, I mean, if he was given a lot of creative control, then maybe.
Yeah, I'd rather him do a passion project superhero movie instead of forcing him to do original content.
Yeah, but obviously he wants to do original content. He's got Baby Driver coming out pretty soon.
I'm so excited. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, John Bernthal, Jamie Foxx, Kevin Spacey, like, what's not to like? Ansel Elgort, I mean, he's one of the greatest actors of this generation.
John, he's pretty good in The Fault in Our Stars. Don't knock that guy. John Bernthal's pecs. Oh, man, I can't wait to see that on the big screen.
Ma, we having meatloaf!
Hey, you see these next time. Bring your sister. She can have a look. Let them watch.
I love John Bernthal. I cannot wait for The Punisher either. Anyway, stop going off on tangents. I don't know who I'd pick as a dream director for Deadpool 2. I mean, if they weren't incredibly busy, Phil Lord and Chris Miller would do a fantastic job of it.
Matthew Vaughn as well would be up there.
Yeah, Matthew Vaughn is the man. He's worked with Fox. He knows the X-Men universe, but I'm not sure what he's up to after Kingsman 2. But no, honestly, I think Leitch is a decent choice. He can direct action. He understands stunts and probably visual effects and everything like that. So why not? Deadpool 2, we don't have a release date for it yet. Is it going to come out next year or 2018?
2018. Even someone like Pete Travis, who did 2012's Dread, I think that he'd be a cool choice just because of the the violence and the 90s jokes and references and stuff. But
and the use of slow motion.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually quite a few slow motion scenes in Deadpool 2, including more namely the starting scene where the bloody cars tipping over and whatever. Anyway, so it is definitely a 2018
sideways.
Release. In the most colossal way. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, alright, what else we got? This is just something small that makes us very happy. The Incredibles 2 has been pulled forward a year, which is great because it's been swapped with Toy Story 4, and Incredibles 2 is now going to be coming out in June 2018 instead of the originally planned 2019 release. And this just makes me so happy because I don't give a shit about Toy Story 4, honestly. I don't care. Incredibles, we've been waiting so many years, and
I wouldn't say I don't give a shit. I mean, I think they should have left it at Toy Story 3 and never come back. But I mean, if they're going to come back, then obviously, they've got something planned for these characters. They're not just going to do the cash grab because they know this is their most protected. This is their best franchise. They're not going to taint it. So I'm interested to see where it goes. But I mean, if I were to choose one movie to see right now, it would be The Incredibles 2, just because of the promise of a sequel that's set up. I want to see where their family's at right now. I want to see what Pa's doing. What's little Dash Pa doing? What's that cheeky son of a gun doing? And it's just I want to see Sam Jackson come back as Frozone. I want to see what
Jack is capable of.
Oh, Jack! If he can harness his powers and he can do whatever he wants, man, that would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, is it? I'm wondering what the story's going to be. Is it going to be the Underminer, or are they going to go with a new story or something? I don't know.
I think they're probably going to take off when the family's down the road. I mean, they've done the whole, the kids are almost teens and the parents are newlywed parents, but I think they're going to go on an older take.
Yeah,
but we'll have to see.
Hopefully,
I'd be interested to see if maybe Jack is the bad guy of that movie or something.
Yeah, that'd be interesting too. But they will never have a better bad guy than Syndrome.
Yeah,
Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl got married and got busy. Oh, this is just too good.
They did, they got so busy. Good lads.
But
because Jacob, she is flexible.
She's quite flexible, yeah. But whatever direction they go, Brad Bird is the man. He can do no wrong. Yep, I'm one of the few people who love Tomorrowland, so I still think he can do no wrong.
I mean, I think he can. It's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, so also we're getting Cars 3, I think, pretty soon as well. They're doing...
Oh, yes! The much-awaited, much-anticipated Cars 3.
Let's not waste any oxygen on that. And
if the second one is... If the first one is a nice family film, and the second one is an espionage 007 movie where a car gets tortured to death, what's the third one going to be? Maybe it's going to be Cars in Outer Space. I reckon that's the only way to step it up.
Yeah.
Gravity, but with Mater.
And they've also got the Day of the Dead themed Coco coming out in 2017. I don't know much about it, but it looks pretty cool. But speaking of franchises dying when they go to space, let's talk about the God Particle.
Yeah, we'll have to see where that one goes.
Yeah, so J.J. Abrams, he's been producing a movie called The God Particle, and they revealed this week that it is actually a third Cloverfield movie. Just like 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, and it was a big surprise. They only the movie was only even revealed like a few months before it came out, and we got that great teaser trailer. And looks like they've done it again, but Cloverfield Lane was originally a movie called, I believe, The Cellar, and that was a different movie, and they changed it to a Cloverfield movie. This God Particle, I feel like this was probably Cloverfield from the start, I reckon.
Yeah, I feel like they were made. Do you think that, like, the first one, they had trailers for the movie but never showed the name? The second one, they didn't drop the trailer until a month before. This one, they're revealing that all along it was a Cloverfield movie. Do you reckon J.J. Abrams just sits there and, as a producer, his job is to just, like, think of different ways they can surprise people with a new Cloverfield movie?
Well, I like this style of marketing because all these big movies that bring out trailers, like, as far as a year before the movie's released, all you're doing is making people wait, and people are just going to sit there really anxious for it. If you just keep quiet and then bring out a trailer not long before it's out, it generates this big excitement, and then people are like, oh cool, that's coming out soon. I love the way they're marketing these, and the big question is God Particle trailer, is it going to premiere before a Transformers movie?
They God, I hope not, because I won't see it.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Trailer. I want to see the trailer.
I didn't watch the last two.
I'm going to have to find some idiot to go see the next Transformer movie, and I'm going to have to get him to record it for me.
Yeah, because,
sorry, studios.
Trailers don't come immediately online these days at all. But God Particle, it's going to be directed by Julius Onah. He's made one other feature, but it was a very, very small movie. And much like Dan Trachtenberg for 10 Cloverfield Lane, he's a very, very untested, yet unknown director. And
hey, Trachtenberg really proved himself.
Yeah, we don't... Yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane is fantastic. It was so well directed. He showed so much confidence there, and I can't wait to see what he does next. But yeah, I don't know too much about the plot of the God Particle. We know it's set in space. We know it's a group of astronauts, and they make a terrifying discovery that, quote-unquote, changes everything. And so the cast is going to include Chris O'Dowd, David Oyelowo, Gugu Mbatha-Raw. I apologize if I butchered that name. Elizabeth Debicki, and Daniel Bruhl. And anything with Daniel Bruhl in, I'm game, because I love the guy. Ever since Rush, I'm convinced that guy is, like, a fantastic actor.
He's basically Jesus, but reincarnate and Austrian.
He's basically God Particle.
Yeah.
No, in the movie, the God Particle is a character, and Bruhl just plays this particle that just floats around and, talks to the characters. He's like you can't see him, but like he's just a presence, and he just talks, and everyone's like, "Whoa, where's that coming from?" He's just like air talking. I'm excited for it. It's going to be an interesting take. Yeah, and I wonder if
it's not what it's going to be.
I wonder if this movie is going to show more of the Cloverfield universe. Like Cloverfield Lane, we got one or two references. Do you think this movie is going to take it further? The fact that they're in space, it could tie in with like all the stuff about satellites in the Cloverfield universe, because the monster was awoken by a satellite falling. It could be something to do with that.
Well, I mean, it depends, because, I mean, as the first two were connected, I mean, in the second one, spoiler alert, it was aliens, and in the first one, it was a monster that rose up from the ocean, so, they could go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that aliens
Loosely
were in
connected.
Cloverfield Lane. I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but, like, I'm not sure what tie they have to the universe, but it's I like the way they're marketing them. I wonder if they're going to have a viral marketing campaign. Like the first two, they had these sort of scavenger hunts, and they released like coordinates and audio recordings from John Goodman and everything, so that's going to be fun. But apparently a trailer is expected to drop next month for it, so I guess that rules out it coming after a Transformers movie. But the movie's out February 2017, so we're not waiting too much longer for that one, and hopefully it continues the good form.
Hopefully they just pump them out every year now, good quality movies every year, instead of waiting 4 years in between them like we did with the first two.
Yeah, it's like the Twilight Zone. They're just making these sort of anthology movies that are loosely connected.
Loosely connected.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we'll move on from that, and we're going to be talking about J.J. Abrams a bit more later. But Doctor Strange, it came out. It's a movie that exists, and we saw it, and we're gonna talk about it because we got it a week before the US did, so we're basically better than them. That's what I love.
In every way.
Here in Australia, we usually get the Marvel movies like a week earlier, but then every movie we get everything else fucking late because Australia's distribution is absolute cancer.
But I mean, we get Marvel movies, and we get DC movies a week earlier actually too. We got Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman early. I mean, you didn't because your cinema's trash, but we got it early. But I mean, yeah, our distribution's a bit wacky. I mean, especially because we got The Lobster last year, and America's just getting it released now. Like, it's already on Blu-ray here, and which is, it's a bit everywhere. But enough about that, guys. You don't have to be scared off because for the first 10 or so minutes, we're going to be talking spoiler-free. So you won't get anything ruined for you, and then we'll just go from there.
Going to do a bit of spoiler talk, but it's going to be timestamped. You can skip ahead if you haven't seen the film yet. But
what did you think of Strange, Doctor?
Strange, Doctor, Strange, Steven, it should be, but it's a fun movie. It's the latest entry in the MCU, and they've done a fair few origin stories. Ant-Man, Iron Man, Captain America. Those
Thor,
quirky guys. Yeah, Thor, he's a good lad.
But think about it, the Incredible Hulk isn't an origin story.
I have not seen it. They don't even
show his origin. He's already the Hulk when it starts. Yeah, it's the only one you haven't seen, eh?
Yeah, but we meet Stephen Strange. He's a surgeon. He's like is he a neurosurgeon or no? He works with stem cells and stuff like that. No,
he is a neurosurgeon.
Yeah, but he says it. He's a funny guy. He's kind of charming. He's an arrogant dick. He knows old song titles and. You can see a couple shades of Tony Stark in him in the way that he's a bit arrogant and stuff like that, but he's no billionaire playboy philanthropist, I guess.
He's pretty bloody rich, but he's probably not a philanthropist.
He's actually rich. You see the car he's driving at the start of the movie?
Yeah,
he's got like 10 different watches.
Full stop, man.
Yeah, like
and
that's
his watches
ridiculous.
When he opens his drawer, his watches like revolve. What an absolute lad! I want to have revolving watches.
Yeah, I think Benedict, insert silly name here, Batch, was pretty good. He was perfectly cast, and his American accent's not bad. And I didn't
actually get on my nerves at all. I think he's pretty solid. But I mean, the guy's a class actor. It's not really gonna get on my nerves that much.
Yeah, he's the man. So we're not going to talk too much about the plot because we all know the basic plot, and it's really something you should experience with the movie. But overall, what'd you think of it? What'd you like? What didn't you like?
Oh, I mean, obviously, first of all, I like the character of Stephen Strange. This is actually one of, I was just thinking about it, and, so you start out with Thor, right? In the Thor origin movie, Thor, he starts out, he's arrogant, he's really strong, he's mighty, he's got a hammer. At the very end, he's mighty, he's got a hammer, and, he's a little less arrogant, I guess. Iron Man 1, pretty much the exact same. It starts out without a suit, he's kind of arrogant. It ends off, he's still a bit of an arrogant dick who makes quips a lot, but this time he's got a suit. Doctor Strange, it starts out where, even Captain America starts out, he's humble, ends with he's still humble, but he's slightly stronger. Well, not slightly. He's really strong. But
so
Doctor
basically,
Strange
what we learn from these origin stories is that Steve Rogers is the only person who was not a dick before he became a superhero.
Exactly. But the thing is, with Doctor Strange, he starts out really arrogant, obviously, and as he turns into Strange, by the end of the movie, he's this really humble guy. He's not even
selfless.
Obviously he makes, it's a Marvel movie, he makes his jokes all the time, but he's not a Tony Stark who's still arrogant, who's still up himself, he's still got this massive ego. He's actually done a really big character arc, probably more than most of the people, maybe aside Scott Lang, in the MCU, which is really cool to see his character evolve over the course of an hour and 45 minutes or whatever. But I had real fun with this. I love the character. I love all the other characters Chiwetel Ejiofor's character. I thought he was pretty cool.
was really, really good.
I love Wong.
Benedict Wong as Wong. There's a lot of great dialogue between him and Strange that we won't spoil, but he was really, really good in it, and they were two.
They basically stole
good
the Superbad
sidekicks
line,
to
Jacob.
Strange, and then Tilda Swinton is the ancient one. There was a lot of controversy over whitewashing. I'm not going to get into that because I don't really care. Honestly, I thought she was fantastic.
Hey, I thought she was great.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton is the man. She can
seriously.
literally play anything.
Wait, they stole a line from Superbad in this movie, mate.
Yeah?
One name? What are you, Seal? One name? Who are you, Beyonce?
Yeah, but Tilda Swinton is pretty good as the
Eminem?
ancient one. She's honestly the most versatile actor working today. Like, she could play anything. She could play a lamp. She could play...
Yeah, her and... She's definitely up there with like people like Jared Leto and even Eddie Redmayne to an extent.
Yeah.
People like that.
In Grand
who are
Budapest
just
Hotel, she
endless
played like
range.
an 85-year-old woman. And
Yeah, she's
she
a chameleon.
She should play David Bowie in a movie.
Kate Blanchett
That-
played David Bowie. Oh no, she played someone.
Bob
I'm
Dylan.
not there. Who's that about? Bob Dylan.
Bob
There you go.
Dylan, yeah.
I would
a
never
lot of
have
people
remembered
played
that.
Bob Dylan in that movie.
Many
We've
a
gone
people,
from Doctor
many a
Strange
person.
to Bob Dylan.
I'm not there. Solid movie. Anyway, Doctor Strange. I mean, let's talk about like some of the negatives I had with the movie. I mean, once again, Marvel, I love you, but you crap the bed with the villain.
Yeah, he was pretty weak, very underdeveloped, and it's the overused trope. I'm so sick of this trope. For a former student turns on his master
he's
and decides to use his power
the villain.
for evil.
The villain in Doctor Strange is Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda 1.
Yeah,
Beat
and
for
he's
beat.
also kind of the bad guy in Kung Fu Panda 3. Almost.
No, he's not really a student in number 3, is he?
He was a former ally of the turtle guy, and then he
Not really. He was
came
just,
back
he was
to
just
try
a bad
and kill
guy
him.
who was killing everybody, and the turtle was next on his list. The turtle. I don't even remember.
I don't remember his name. I
Yeah.
like that
Doctor
turtle
Strange.
fella.
What did you think of Amy Adams?
Amy Adams? I think you mean Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. There's
Amy
that's
Adams.
the one.
Amy Adams plays a useless love interest in a different superhero movie that we aren't going to talk about. But
Yeah, except slightly less useless.
So yeah, Rachel McAdams plays a nurse who works with him. I think I can't remember her name. Her last name was Palmer. I think I can't remember her first name. But she's
She was going to be the night nurse, then they changed it because Daredevil took her.
Oh, dude! If they're ever doing the night nurse in this universe, it has to be fucking the one from Daredevil.
Honestly, I think they shouldn't have had. I think they shouldn't have had Rachel McAdams in this movie. I feel like it would have been a lot better if it was the night nurse. If it was the night nurse from like how perfect would that have been to connect these two universes together?
Yeah, that would have been really cool. And I feel like they're kind of apprehensive towards connecting this with the TV universe because...
Well, I've heard that they have no talks between each other, the producers of the movies.
And because the TV universe, there's a lot of violence and a lot of swearing, and I don't think Disney are going to be too keen on any of that. Yeah. So, like,
well,
I could see Daredevil. Daredevil's
and...
a pretty clean-cut guy, despite the fact that he, beats guys to a bloody pulp. But the Punisher would be very, very difficult to adapt into a movie for them. But no, Netflix are nailing it, and I'm happy with those shows so far.
Have
but
you
anyway,
heard the conspiracy that Punisher is in Winter Soldier?
I don't know.
Apparently, he's the one driving the truck whenever someone gets thrown out. It's a stupid theory, but I've heard it. Anyway,
it exists. But anyway, on Rachel McAdams, it feels like every single Marvel movie, every single Marvel origin story, they can't do it without the main character having a love interest. I mean, if you're going to do it, I think it should feel earned, and it just didn't really feel earned in this. Like, Rachel McAdams' character, sure, she's likable, and she has some good dialogue with Doctor Strange and everything like that, but really, it felt like she was just shoehorned in to have Strange have someone who cares about him. It's just trying to create emotional
because, like Natalie Portman, Rachel McAdams is a really, really great actress, and she just kind of feels wasted. She feels like a Natalie Portman. She's probably going to be in 1 and 2 and then not want to return.
Yeah, it's just a character without much personality. She's just there to be there.
She just kind of laughs.
I think a recent example of a superhero movie with a love interest that worked was Deadpool. That shit was developed well. The character had a personality, and it really
was
worked.
kind of a love story altogether.
Deadpool is a love story. This
Strange
movie's
really
like every 20 minutes it'll come back and say, "Oh yeah, don't forget she's in this movie too."
Yeah,
and it just took me out
her
of it.
from the first 10 minutes.
Like
she's still here.
All the stuff was Strange. Learning magic, training, doing magic stuff. That is the best stuff in this movie. The Rachel McAdams' storyline is just, it takes you out of it. But other than that, I don't really have any issues with this. As far as Marvel origin stories go, Doctor Strange is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's solidly... it may even be one of the better origin stories. I mean, I think it's better than Ant-Man. I'm a big fan of the first Thor movie. I think it's better than Thor. I think it's better than Hulk, which is kind of origin, kind of not really. I don't think it's better than Iron Man, and I would be apprehensive to say it's better than the first Avenger, but it's up there.
It's not as good as Iron Man, but other than that, I'd say it's up there for their origin stories. And let me just tell you, the thing I loved about this movie, it is so much fun. There isn't a single dull moment aside from the scenes where he goes back to, America and goes to talk to Rachel McAdams. But enough about that. It's so much fun. The effects are incredible. I just can't imagine watching this while you're high. You would not be able to handle it.
If you take magic mushrooms and then go see this movie, I mean, it may sound like you're going to have a fun time, but you're going to trip out, dude.
The visual effects in this movie look like someone force-fed LSD to the visual effects of Inception. It's like looking through a wild kaleidoscope. There are a couple of really amazing sequences.
The thing is, though, too, I thought that they were going to, by the use of this, I was like, oh, they're going to just, flip stuff over and then run around again. But it was actually limited to the amount they did it unless they actually needed it. And only really the bad guys ever did that to try and run away, which I thought was really cool. They didn't just go, hey, look at these special effects we have. Let's make Doctor Strange make the world invert on itself,
Yeah, well, plus Strange isn't that strong. He's still learning.
But but I mean, he's pretty bloody strong. He takes on 3 of them at once right after he learns his powers.
Because there's a power to him.
Yeah,
But overall, I really enjoyed this. I think Marvel are succeeding in that these movies aren't taking themselves too seriously. It's a lot of fun. They're like comic book pages come to life. They're not churning out masterpieces, but they're giving us these fun superhero movies that bring out the giddy child in us.
Seriously, you can say stuff like, maybe they need to be a bit more dark, maybe they're too family-friendly. But I read comic books, I do read comic books, and most of them are just exactly like the Marvel movies. None of them are too melodramatic, serious, unless you're reading, a Watchmen graphic novel. All the Marvel movies that they're adapting, even the comic book line of Civil War, which I've read 4 times, it's actually reasonably lighthearted and friendly, and there's jokes in it, even though, it does get serious,
Yeah, I mean, superheroes, there's the niche of them being dark, and I love those movies too, but there's nothing wrong with these movies being family-friendly. I mean, everybody loves them, they bring people together, and it's just fun. You just sit there and you're like, wow, look at the pretty colours and effects, and it's just fun, turn your brain off action. And
even lots of it isn't turn your brain off. I mean, Doctor Strange is really smart action, you really smart magic. They use it to their advantage. It's they always have to... I heard that they had to train, the way they use their hands, so it always looks the same. There's no, what do you call continual errors where they'll just do something and then do something wrong, but the same thing will happen. Lots of it is really smart actually, but it is big lights flashing fun too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. That's pretty much it for my thoughts.
Should we? We'll rate it before we.
I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. I had a couple sort of big issues with it, but overall, I think it's really fun, and it's one of the better MCU movies, if I must say. It's more than just visual effects.
I think it's around the middle for me. It's around in the middle towards the top end, towards the 1, 2, 3. It's no Iron Man 2, it's no Thor 2. But anyway, I would give this. Even though I've been saying a lot, my only real problems were the villain and Rachel McAdams. Besides that, I thought the final confrontation was amazing.
I really enjoyed that.
It wasn't your cliche final fight. I thought just go in for the final confrontation. It is incredible. Anyway, I'm going to give this probably a 9 because I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 because those were my only 2 issues, and even I thought that Amy Adams and Benedict Cumberbatch. I thought the way it ended, Anyway, the way it ended with them was pretty sweet, and they did have good chemistry. I just think a character was wasted a little bit in what she was given to do, and obviously the villain. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it did have good chemistry. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was just a bit forced, I guess.
Yeah, it was no Natalie Portman, Chris Hemsworth. Yeah.
But we're going to talk about spoilers for a little bit, just to get some other stuff.
We'll timestamp you.
Yeah. So, if you have not seen the movie yet, there's going to be a link in the description, probably an annotation here on the screen. So just skip forward to our next segment if you have not seen the movie and don't want to get it spoiled for you. All right, you have been warned.
Spoilers, skip now.
Spoiler alert. So the final confrontation, there's Dormammu's in this movie. I didn't know that going in.
I don't even know who he is.
He's sort of a big bad sort of comic villain.
It's really good that they hid that. Otherwise, people would have basically guessed the whole movie. I mean, it's good of them to, hold that back. Yeah. But anyway, the final confrontation isn't a big fight between Strange and Mads Mikkelsen or Strange and Dormammu. It's basically Strange. He basically Edge of Tomorrow's Dormammu.
He annoys Dormammu into giving up on destroying Earth, and
literally.
I enjoyed it.
It was so unconventional, man. I mean, it wasn't a big CGI fest blow up. Like, we already had that confrontation fight halfway through the movie in the second act. I mean, this one with Dormammu and he stops him. I just thought it was
I have
really
come to bargain.
And really fun. Basically, he does that. Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and then he's like, "You can't bargain with me. I'm Dormammu." Blah 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 blah, and then kills him by squishing him. And then Dormammu looks up, and Doctor Strange is there, and he's like, "Dormammu, I've come to bargain." He's like, "What?" And he's like, "I've got the time gem, Dormammu. You can't defeat me. I'm doing this forever." And he's like, "No, you're not." And he bloody squishes him a different way. He dies like 10 different times.
It's this Edge of Tomorrow type
so much fun.
Of him,
and he just
dying.
keeps coming back. And basically, Dormammu's like, leave me alone. I'll leave Earth. Bloody hell, mate.
It's
bloody
like
hell.
It's like the ending of The World's End. Just get back in your rocket and fuck off back to Legoland, you cunts. And it's like, it's like they just annoyed into Dormammu's just like, oh fuck it, like
he traps him, mate.
He traps him in a time. He traps Dormammu in
You've
a time.
got me in a box here.
And, I love that ending. It was funny and it was also good. It made sense. It worked.
It's
and
so
it was
strange too.
Cool
this guy
to see.
is.
Go on.
You go. It's so strange, the way Doctor Strange is. The way he is like he's always making quips. He's always smart. He's really smart. He's always one step ahead of everyone when it comes to jokes. Like even using the time. He used the time gem, which no one else could figure out that early on in their magic career, whatever you want to call it. Like he's just. The way he does stuff is unconventional, and forgive me, it's strange, and I loved it.
It was good to see the heroes sort of think outside the box. It wasn't just this, smash and bash fight and everything. He was smart. He went up and I just love how he basically annoyed him into surrendering. And some people might look at that and think, oh, that's just Marvel being childish again. It's fun and it was a good scene. And Mads Mikkelsen was a very weak villain, and so it was good that they brought that element.
I thought
into
Dormammu
it.
was good too, actually, for the amount of time he was on. He was menacing, and also since they didn't kill him like they do with every other movie, there's that lurking presence. Dormammu's out there in this universe.
He probably will come back at some point. But
and I also think that I did enjoy that. I thought that was very cool. Anyway, I'd totally called from the start of the movie the Ancient One biting the dust.
Yeah. I mean, once he starts training with her, you think, yep, she's going to die. Stranger's going to, become
He's going to
become sort of master.
Because they basically call her the Sorcerer Supreme, and you're like, wait a minute, isn't Doctor Strange billed as Strange the Sorcerer Supreme? Something's going to have to change here. There's going to be a shift, and he's not going to become more powerful. I mean, I thought she was really cool because she wasn't this big glooming figure who's just down. She's just like, oh, fine, I'll teach you, bloody hell, mate, and then does all this stuff. She's actually lighthearted. She's like, here, have some tea. I'm going to teach you things you don't know. And then why am I doing a British accent? I'm not sure. Anyway, she does that, British. And basically she is. Yeah, right, true. Anyway, and she and she's lighthearted. She's so powerful too. You see that, no one can you can't get away from her unless she's distracted or something. She's really powerful, and it was really cool to see that power shift.
How great is the first end credit scene? Thor!
Oh my god, Thor! Wait, the first end credit scene has Taika Waititi's name all over it, man. Yeah, this is the guy who I feel like they've done an Ant-Man here, in where in Ant-Man the very first scene is Bucky with his arm in the clamp, and there's Steve and Falcon. And that was directly from Civil War, directed by the Russos. I feel like this is going to be directly from because they finished filming. I feel like this is going to be directly from Thor 3, and it's directed by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, it has that tone. It's like, you know,
I feel like it's
chugs a
definitely gonna be
beer
in
and
there.
then like it magically refills and everything.
Just the editing and the
fun.
shots too. It just feels so him, you know.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And the other credit scene, it's setting up Baron Mordo to be becoming a villain. And you can see the seeds being planted throughout the movie. Ejiofor was really, really good as him. And it was interesting to see him. He was like a villain who's almost too much of a good guy, goody-goody two-shoes. He follows the rules to a fault, and that ends up being why he leaves.
Yeah. When he finds out that the Ancient One has been, you know, draining more has been basically, like,
Using
draining
dark
life
energy
force
to
from
stay
the Dark
alive.
Zone so she can be alive forever. You know, it really fucks with him because, you know, he's lived by these rules. He thinks of her as, like, this god figure. He thinks of her, she can do no wrong. She's going to lead me into the promised land, and then finds out, you know, she's just as bad as the rest of us, and it just breaks his heart.
Yeah, and he ends up, and I think he has the
many
potential to be a
sorcerers.
good villain. Yeah, the end credit scene with him was pretty badass, killing Benjamin Bratt, who for some reason was in this movie for like 2 minutes.
I thought he killed Benjamin Bratt, but then I read up about it and it says he just paralyzed him again,
Oh no, yeah, right. You're probably right. He just took his magic away from him.
which is not very nice.
Yeah,
Too many
you know,
sorcerers.
Bit of a dick move, but
The Stan Lee cameo. I feel like that was fine. It was like
it
middling.
was alright.
It was
okay.
It was just Stan Lee in a bus, and then Doctor Strange walks on the bus because everything's upside down to them, not to people. So basically, the people can't see when the world is upside down because it's in this other dimension, sort of.
So,
but he's just there, and Doctor Strange is walking on the bus. And he's like, "Oh, I'm Stan Lee."
So that's pretty much all I've got to say on Doctor Strange. Anything else you want to add?
Nah, Doctor Strange, you know, really enjoyable time. Go see it. I think the 3D is some of the best 3D I've seen since I saw Avatar in the cinema, man. They use this 3D so well when they go into all those dimensions. Oh, I just want to mention one thing, too. How fun is the fight in the second act, where he throws the people into the portal and then changes, like, the dimension?
Yeah,
Freaking
that's
awesome. Like,
when
he
he's
throws the
fighting,
chick-
Mads
Yeah.
Mikkelsen, yeah.
I think it is funny though how he gets his powers, and then literally 5 minutes later he fights Mad Mikkelsen and two other
and
people
basically
who
wins.
are well-trained sorcerers and beats them.
Yeah, that was so you got to suspend your disbelief a little there. But
Also, how freaking awesome is the Cloak of Levitation, man? That thing is amazing. I love it.
yeah, it's good to see. It helps him out in a fight.
is
It kind of
so fun.
has a mind of its own.
Yeah, like someone goes to hit him and it will just catch the hit and then like throw the fist into the other guy's face and just like blind him, and it like Doctor Strange is trying to go for this axe and it's like dragging him the other way, and then he grabs this weapon that just looks like nothing and it bloody traps him.
And when he's getting ready for the final battle, puts the cape on like a badass, and it starts
It
like
just sinks over. He's like,
it doesn't sit
"Stop it."
properly. Stop that.
and it just like
But
sits
yeah.
up perfectly. It's like
That's
cuddling
it.
him.
That's pretty much it for Doctor Strange. It's out.
Yeah.
It's out in theaters now here in Australia. It's out in theaters next week in the US, and it's pretty good. Go see it. It's more than just a visual effects extravaganza. I really liked it.
Speaking of Doctor Strange and Marvel, we are now going to move into our well-known segment, our season segment that's in every show.
For those who've been listening to us for a while, you know what we do here.
Yeah, so every week we're going to start doing a top 5 of, maybe it'll be something that comes out that week that's like, so maybe we'll do top 5 modern westerns for Hell or High Water, maybe something comes out, we do something for that, or maybe it's just whatever we feel like and shut up and listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, this week we are doing, as I said, we're doing top 5 Marvel movies. Now, we're doing Marvel, obviously, because it's Doctor Strange. We can do DC when something else comes out.
Not limiting it to the MCU, though.
Not limiting it to MCU, no. It can be any Marvel movie.
So,
All
yeah,
right,
we're
so
just
Jacob-
going to roll off our own personal top 5s and discuss them and everything. But I've got
Although
I've got
saying
a few...
that, I think like 4 or 5 of mine are from the MCU.
Yeah, I've got a few honorable mentions. I've got X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men First Class. I really like those movies. And then also, this one is just because I don't fully count it as a Marvel movie, even though the comic is kind of printed by Marvel. It's Kick-Ass. I really, really love it. It's one of my favorite superhero movies, but I don't really count it as a Marvel movie, even though the comic is distributed by Marvel.
Yeah, I was about to say one of my honorable mentions is Kick-Ass, just because, I mean, it may make my 5, maybe just on the outside, but I mean, it's not fully by Marvel, even though technically it is. Anyway, I've got Captain America: The First Avenger because I really love that. I think that's the most underrated MCU movie. I've got X2, one of my maybe my second or third favorite X-Men movie. I've got Days of Future Past and Deadpool, which would probably be 1 and 2. I love Deadpool, so funny. And I've got Guardians of the Galaxy, which you'll probably hate me for.
Whatever floats your boat.
All right, number 5.
So
what are you going to go into?
My number 5 is Civil War. Came out this year. I know it's pretty recent, but I quite enjoyed it. It's one of the better MCU movies in my opinion. Cap fighting Iron Man. Everything that's been said about this movie has been said. I don't really have anything more insightful to add, but the airport fight scene is worth the price of admission alone. It tackles...
And that's rare to say about a movie.
It tackles some of the heaviest themes that the MCU has so far, and I really enjoyed it, and it tackled the issue of hero fighting hero a lot better than another movie that came out this year, but, we won't mention that one. But
we don't want to get
Civil
raped,
War.
so we'll stay away from that. Alright, my number 5 is going to be Joss Whedon's Avengers. The one that kicked it all off. Everything was leading up to this. Big John Whedon.
John C. Whedon.
I bloody love John Whedon, mate. Anyway, John Whedon's Avengers. Everything was leading up to this. If this movie failed, then I don't know if they would have started Phase 2, if they would have, continued their timeline. It was a risk, and it bloody paid off, mate, didn't it? John Whedon's Avengers. It's so much fun. The reason it's not higher is that basically the first 15 minutes are really boring. It's some stupid car chase through a tunnel, and I get you have to set it up, you have to set these characters up, you have to have them all meeting, which I love when they meet for the first time.
First half
what, you're scared of thunder? I'm not overly fond of what follows. And then the big fight in the woods. Does mother know you weareth her drapes? It's just so fun, but the first 15 minutes really drags it down to me, whereas there are some movies where the whole time I'm just like, this is awesome,
Yeah. All right, my number 4 would be another 2016 movie. My taste skews very much to the modern side. It's Deadpool. I love Deadpool. It's actually probably my favorite X-Men movie, and it gave me everything I wanted out of a Deadpool movie. It brought the character to life. He was funny. He was badass. Had all his, trademark weapons. Little light on the chimichangas, so we didn't get all his catchphrases, but he was a lot of fun.
We didn't get one chimichanga. We got a chimichanga joke, but not one chimichanga.
It's time to make the chimmy fucking changas. Yeah,
bullshit.
But, he does not eat a single chimichanga. That was rather disappointing, but other than that glaring error, Deadpool was a really fun movie. It's really funny. It's not the first ever MA rated superhero movie. Oh yeah, our rating is MA. It's R in America. We call it MA.
Our R is your NC-17.
Yeah, but
it's weird.
Anyway,
it's weird.
There have been other MA rated superhero movies, but this was sort of the first big budget mainstream one by a big studio, and it was very successful. Almost made more money than Batman vs Superman, which is incomprehensible.
Literally is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know how it did that.
I think it only just got surpassed by Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So what is your number 4, Marvel?
My number 4 is going to be Iron Man. The original Iron Man started off the MCU. Still one of my favorite movies. It wasn't even up there until I rewatched it a couple months ago and just realized how awesome it
holds
is, man.
up really well.
Seeing Tony's transformation, seeing all this stuff, seeing there's 3 or 4 different suits until he gets to the official Iron Man suit. He's not just perfect straight away. Seeing how good he is, he built this in a thing, and then you obviously go to Jeff Bridges' villain, who's like, why can't you make this? Tony Stark built this out of scraps in a cave, and some guy's just like, well, I'm not Tony Stark. It just puts into perspective how much this guy is actually just an incredible person outside the suit too. He's so smart. He's a genius, and I am Iron Man. It's a modern classic.
Yeah, it has so many great moments in it. One part I really love is when he's out in the desert and he gets the missile with his own name on it fired at him. I think that's really fun.
That is the eye-opening thing.
It introduced AC/DC to Marvel, which was great. And
I also really love the bit where all the Taliban are taking these people hostage, and he puts out his arm, and the aim thing just aims at all of the bad guys' heads, and then he just shoots them dead, and all the civilians are just sitting there like, Jesus Christ! It's just
Jesus
awesome.
Christ! It's Jason Bourne.
That's Jason Bourne.
Yeah, Iron Man's my number 3. So I couldn't have summed it up. I couldn't have summed it up better myself. It is definitely the best origin story they've done. One of my favorite MCU movies
for sure.
Yeah. So.
Not for you. It wouldn't be.
What? My favorite MCU movies?
No, it's not your favorite origin story.
Kind of. All right. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, it's the best. I grew up on the original. Well, I grew up on the first two. Spider-Man 3 kind of came in when I was like kind of not growing out of it, but kind of stopped watching these movies because honestly, I watched Spider-Man 3, and even as a kid, I recognized I was like, this isn't as good as I want more Doc Ock. This is crap. I always went back to Doc. I used to have the toy figures. I used to play with it. I used to have like a 40 centimeter Doc Ock, a 40 centimeter Spider-Man. I love, like, honestly, this is one of the rare movies where the first one is much better than the original because, you know, all the things with Doc Ock, he is so fantastic. He's such a good villain. It's a tragic story. You relate to him. You see where he's coming from. He's been, you know, these things have taken over his mind and spoiled his mind. It's such a personal story. The relationship between Peter and MJ peaks here. This is the best where they've at. It's not where they're like, I love you, I don't love you. We have to break up. We have to get together, like in Iron Man, like in Spider-Man 3, like 10 times. You know, it's really good, and I just love it. It's my favorite. And that train scene where he's on the front of the train and he has to stop it from going over the tracks because Doc Ock's broken the brakes. That whole train fight is one of my favorite action sequences of all time.
Really great. Didn't quite make my list. I like it, but I haven't seen it in so long that I'm really due for a rewatch of that one. But all right, my number 2 is it's all basically MCU from here on out. It's Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
I'll just cut in here because my number 2 is Winter Soldier as well.
All right, let's get into it. It's so good. It's their most serious movie, I think. It's a spy espionage thriller, but it still has great blockbuster action. Has a great story. I mean, even though we all sort of knew it was coming, the reveal of Bucky as Winter Soldier was great and really well done. And
it has one of the best villains in any MCU movie. Even if you don't count Bucky as the villain, even Alexander Pierce is a fantastic
Robert Redford
villain.
Is a class actor, and he was a good villain too. I mean, he
Although
wanted
for
to
me,
like
kind of
kill billions of people based on their probability of them committing a crime. That's crazy.
Yeah, like it doesn't the punishment come after the crime? Anyway,
like some kind of fucked up version of Minority Report.
Yeah, exactly. Alexander Pierce, I mean, like, the thing is, it kind of sucks whenever he's on screen because whenever Robert Redford's on screen, he just outacts the shit out of everybody, man. That guy is just fantastic. Anyway, the story's so good. It's really thrilling, even though it clocks in at like 2 hours and 15 minutes. You don't feel it at all. All the banter is great, even though it's a serious movie. It's the introduction of Falcon, which their relationship is just so... Falcon and Steve's relationship is almost as good as, you know, Steve and Bucky's relationship, which is crazy because they're the original bros, and, you know, it just goes to show what these two Russo brothers can do. They established themselves in this movie as the MCU directors.
Yeah, I mean they're the man now. They've taken over from Joss Whedon as doing all their big blockbusters. Oh yeah, I mean he just sits at home crying in the fetal position. That's how he spends most of his days now. Like
I've got so much money.
Stop telling me what to do, studio executives. Yeah, I love Winter Soldier.
I love that interview of him where he's on set and he's just sitting there and he just looks like he hasn't slept in 4 days, and as he says this as he's smiling, and he's just like, on filming this movie, you know, I had so much restrictions, but then I also have so much limitations, you know. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. This is.
I mean, he has a lot of restrictions, but on the other hand, there are a fair few limitations as well.
I mean, this is the guy. This is a video of a broken man.
All right, number 1. I'll go first. You know me, so you know what it is. But it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's pretty much all MCU, but I love Guardians of the Galaxy. So much fun. Dude, the first time I saw that, from the opening credit sequence, when the giant font title appears on screen and we start hearing, "Come and get the love." Like, it's just like, I knew I was in for something special. I knew I was in for something special the moment that title sequence came up. Such fun movie, such a great soundtrack, and Suicide Squad kind of tried to copy their own, doing the soundtrack of like pop and rap songs and stuff, but Guardians did it right. Every song felt like really, it blended well with each scene, and now whenever I hear those songs outside of the film, I think of the corresponding scene in the film. That's what that movie did for me.
Exactly. Like, literally, I can name each song to which scene it's at. It's amazing.
It introduced so many great characters. I mean, Star-Lord, how funny. We forget how funny Star-Lord was the first time we saw that. Like, so many great lines and moments. Who?
Man, legendary outlaw.
Like, he is so amazing. And
if you put a backlight up here, it looked like a Jackson Pollock painting. You're a gross, Quill.
You got issues, Quill. Rocket was great. Bradley Cooper was fantastic as this fucking raccoon. Groot. I mean, I got more. Man. That's like one of the. I got one of the more emotional moments of any superhero movie from a guy who can only say 3 words. Well, 4 words by the end of it. But no, Groot was fantastic. He was hilarious. He made me cry at the end. Even Gamora is a good character. She's a bit boring than the other ones, but she's funny. She has some funny moments too. Who put the sticks up their butts? That is cruel. Everybody's great. Drax
just like Kevin Bacon.
Drax with his very literal way of speaking, like nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I will catch it. Yeah, it's like this movie. This was before we had like all Force Awakens and everything, and it felt like a Star Wars for the new generation. It had some great space battles, so much fun, and just I think it's perfect in every way.
My number one is something you've already touched on, and it is recent. It's 2016. It's Civil War. Hear me out. I know it's recent. For me, this is everything I've seen in a superhero movie, top. It encapsulates everything. I mean, you talk about the scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy with Peter's mum, which is so, like, sweet and heartbreaking at the same time. Literally, this is the... When spoiler alert, when, obviously, at the end, he's like, I don't care, he killed my mum. And when you see... when he watches his parents die, like, something in me, like, it just pulled at my heartstrings, and I actually felt real emotion in a superhero movie, which is something that's so rare. It has everything, it has the best action in a superhero movie, it has the most emotion in a superhero movie, it has the funniest lines in a superhero movie, it introduced us Black Panther, who's just wicked, he's so cool, introduced us Spider-Man, which is just amazing. Spider-Man is so funny.
Tom Holland
This is one of the most, like, Obviously, my favourite is still Tobey Maguire, because we've only seen 20 minutes Tom Holland. Most people saying he's the best. Calm down. But he was just amazing. He didn't step a foot wrong. But, I mean, he's just fantastic. Everything in this movie is just incredible. The storyline, fantastic. Say what you will. I think the villain is really great. Probably one of the best MCU villains, if not the best. I'll have to think about that. But
best, you reckon?
I love Baron Zemo, man. He is... I loved him. His plan made sense to me. I mean, everyone's like, why it was so lucky of him that Iron Man and Cap showed up at the same time. Even if that didn't happen, guess what? Iron Man was still going to figure out that Bucky killed his bloody mum and dad, mate. So it doesn't matter that much. It just happened to work out really well for him. And then the end, how he tried to kill himself too. It's just so potent that, this giant metal killing robot wasn't the one to take down the Avengers. It was just a guy who lost his family in Sokovia, which really underlies the theme of loss in the movie. Like, the theme of loss, the theme of civilian casualties, and it just turns out that even though they're trying to fight that, it's the thing that comes back to haunt them.
Yeah, call him the best villain, that's a big call, but no, he's definitely...
Well, they haven't had that much.
One of the better superhero villains from this year, probably the best. And his plan pretty much succeeded. I mean, sure,
I love at the end...
Get back together...
eventually.
But for the most part,
I don't think Iron Man will ever forgive Bucky. Like, there's some big scars in there. I love the bit when Martin Freeman's so cocky and he's like, guess what? I'm going to tell you what to do. And all because you had this stupid plan. It didn't even work. And he just looks at him and he's like, didn't it? And I'm just like, oh boy.
So yeah, that's our top 5 favorite Marvel films. We're gonna be doing this every week. So
top 5, top 5 Marvel films every week. We talk about the same ones on repeat.
Same ones, and just like bring up different facts about each one every week.
I'm gonna talk about the exact same thing until
this is gonna be a fucking ripper of a podcast, man.
we mate, it's gonna be fucking great.
All right, so let's get into our final segment of the day.
Another weekly
thing we're going to be doing, and it is a spotlight on a director. We're going to be talking about a director and their filmography every week. And since earlier we were talking about J.J. Abrams and his producing The God Particle and everything, and he's been very, very active in Hollywood. He's very respected, does a lot of work, producing everything. We're going to talk about J.J. Abrams and his filmography. So, he's only made 5 movies, actually. I thought he would have done more, but he's only made 5. His debut was Mission Impossible 3, I reckon, which I have not seen, but I've heard it's good.
I mean, Mission Impossible 3, I mean, it was definitely a step in the right direction after Mission Impossible 2, John Woo's movie, which John Woo, Mission Impossible, sounds good. Wasn't that good. It was more like a 90s music video with lots and lots of doves. But anyway, Mission Impossible 3 was a step in the right direction. It didn't really invigorate the franchise like, you know, Brad Bird's Mission Impossible 4 did. One of my favorite action movies of all time. Go watch it right now. But you know, it was a step in the right direction. It had one of the best villains, the Rabbit's Foot, which they were chasing the whole movie. Iconic. Everyone talks about the Rabbit's Foot when it comes to Mission Impossible villains, and, you know, red herrings and stuff like that. It's just so cool. The whole interrogation scene on the plane with Philip Seymour Hoffman. I mean, even when Tom Cruise has got him and he's about to throw him out of planes, Philip Seymour Hoffman has got the upper hand. He's just such a scary villain. Easily the franchise's best villain so far. I mean, it's definitely an above average film for a first time director. I think it was really good.
And then 3 years later, he would start on a journey to become known as 2 things. 1, the savior of franchises, and 2, the god of lens flares. Star Trek, the 2009 reboot, it's a brilliant movie.
You joke about it, he does lots of lens flares, but when you watch it, it's like, holy shit,
there's
so many lens flares.
That first one,
Jesus
you
Christ.
go back and watch it, and you think, alright, cool, man, yep,
Jeez,
cool. We get it, that the sun is a thing that exists, and it, you know... Yeah. You can see the sun.
But I mean, that doesn't hinder anything. I'm not going to take marks off a movie.
Oh no,
lens
it's just
of course,
a
but
little
I mean, honestly, the first Star Trek movie that he made, fantastic movie, man, so great. And I don't get why everyone shits on Star Trek Into Darkness now. I don't
get it.
It's
alright.
I mean, sure, the last 15 minutes, I mean, it's not alright. It's a great movie. Sure, the last 15 minutes are, you know, a bit iffy, but I think overall it's a really solid movie, man. He has not made a bad film.
I wouldn't disagree with you there. I mean, honestly, I think Into Darkness, of the ones I've seen, would be his weakest movie, and I really, really enjoyed that. It has a couple issues, like, as you said, the ending isn't great, and Alice Eve's character was just a completely useless addition.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you remember that, the scene where they had her in her bikini? Like, yeah, it's like, okay, thanks. What was the point of that?
Cheers, J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, but even that, I think, is a really good movie, but... I want to talk about something that's lesser known, and it's one of the best Steven Spielberg movies that isn't by Steven Spielberg, and
it's an homage.
That's Super 8.
Oh, mate, this is my favourite J.J. Abrams movie. I've seen this movie probably like 10 times. It's basically... It's E.T., except I didn't grow up on E.T., man. When I was like 12 or 13, which is not too long ago, it was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago even, mate, this movie... I can't even say it's E.T. for me. I feel like it was made for my generation, maybe a bit younger than me. But anyway, I just grow up. I love these characters. I love the journey they go on. I love everything they go through. I love the beats, even though it's not by Steven Spielberg. It feels like such a Spielberg movie. It's so family friendly. It's also really like heartbreaking at the end. I meit's a whole theme of loss, theme of everything. I made you watch it when you came over to see me.
Yeah, I'd seen it before that. I saw it when it first came out, and I've always been a fan of that. I've always really connected to the whole thing about how the kids are making these films and everything, because like I saw this movie when I was probably like 13 or so years old, and back then I used to always make these little like short comedy sketches on YouTube and everything, so I just really enjoyed seeing all these kids like making all their short films and stuff. That connected with me, and then it just goes into this sort of mystery movie. There's an alien, and it's really good. It's like it's this sort of trend of movies about like late night kids going around town finding mystical things, like the Stranger Things, Midnight Special this year had a similar vibe, and Super 8 sort of reinvigorated this trend. And yeah, it's like a Steven Spielberg movie. Spielberg produced it, and it's really a good movie. And how good is Elle Fanning in this movie?
I just was about to say, this movie introduced Elle Fanning, especially that scene where she's like, not even that scene. In every scene, man, Elle Fanning is electric. She is so so freaking good in this movie. I've only seen her in a few things, and once I saw her in this, she instantly became my actress to watch, man. I mean, she is just fantastic. So good.
Yeah, she was really great. She had a great maturity to her. It was a good character too. It was. There's
definitely. I mean, that scene where she's pretending, like where she's acting, like when she's acting as the mother, and she's talking to him, and she's acting basically in the movie that they're making, and she's like, "Don't go, I need you," and she just outacts everyone in that scene, like on purpose, obviously in the movie, and she makes everyone cry. And honestly, it made me. I mean, I wouldn't say tear up, but like I just watch that scene and watch her act like that, and it's just incredible.
Off topic, but was she good in the Neon Demon? I know you saw that recently. Was she good? Oh
yeah, she's great in the Neon Demon.
I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, there's not much range to her in the Neon Demon. She's just a kind of one emotion, but shit film, good performance.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the cast of Super 8 on IMDb, and just something made me laugh. The dude who plays Scully in Brooklyn Nine-Nine's in it.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
He's the fat kid's dad.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, great show. Watch it. Anyway, that's
our weekly Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference. We have to have one every week. It's a quota we must fill.
But yeah, and then he's Star Wars. He did Star Wars. He's the fucking franchise savior. And The Force Awakens, say whatever you will about it, reboot A New Hope, whatever. It's a really, really fun movie, and it brought Star Wars to this new generation. Like, it is going to bring it's going to inspire kids these days to go back and watch the original Star Wars films, and I think that's a really, really
the thing about this
feat.
too, kids these days, it's going to be their A New Hope.
Yeah,
kids
pretty much. Like,
are gonna grow up on it.
My sister, who's about 15, this was the first Star Wars movie she saw. She'd never been interested in it. I took her to watch it and fell in love with it, and went back, watched all the originals, watched all the prequels. Like, she's a bigger Star Wars fan than I am now. Like, it is going to inspire people to go check out these originals. And
honestly,
yeah,
think about it too. The villain of Kylo Ren, although people are like, "Oh, he wasn't that good. You barely know anything about him." We know more about Kylo Ren after this first film than we knew anything about Darth Vader after that first film. Anything at all.
People forget, in the first movie, Darth Vader wasn't really much. Like, he didn't become this iconic, incredible villain until Empire and all this stuff. Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, and Kylo Ren he's already, we know so much about him.
Disclaimer: we're not saying Kylo's better than Vader. We're not saying that.
Oh no, of course not.
I don't want to be murdered in my sleep, but yeah, he's really good.
Please don't give us hate mail. I mean, you can give us hate mail. It'll probably be funny to read if you don't like the show, and you actually have a passion for not liking it. I think that'd be hilarious. But I mean, don't just.
What you think? Out of our 7 total listeners, we're already gonna have a guy who hates us, man? You're
probably like 5 out of 7. Yeah, probably maybe 6. Maybe there'll be one guy who's like, yeah, this podcast is fine, but everyone else will be like, ah, shit.
And I say thank you to that guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let us know your thoughts.
But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Abrams, does he have anything else in the pipeline? I know he's working bloody so hard as a producer. I don't think he's got any new directorial efforts coming up.
Not any movies coming out, as I know. But anyway, J.J. Abrams hasn't stepped a foot wrong yet. Every movie he's made has varied from good to really great.
Yeah, it would have been good to see him continue on with Star Wars, but you think, like, you can't go past Rian Johnson. He's going to do an amazing job.
The 4 out of his 5 movies have been major franchise movies too.
I know. He's a director that studios can plug in, and he's going to do a great job. He's
golden,
very respected.
Man. He is golden.
Yeah, and but at the same time, he can do smaller original stuff like Super 8, and I can't wait to see where JJ goes next. And I think that's it. That's all we've got for today, isn't it?
That's the show. That's the show. Wrapped up.
That was our first attempt, and we did this all in one recording. We didn't screw up once. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, sorry. It may have been a bit of a shit show, but maybe keep listening over the weeks, over the months. Like, there's going to be a weekly thing on our new channel. We're also going to do reviews for movies we see. We'll post them up. Obviously, they'll be actual live. Well, not live, but like with us in it.
You'll get to see our ugly faces.
Exactly, which I'm sorry for you, but it's just easier for us. Anyways, yes, thank you so much for listening to us. If you listen the whole way, if you only listen to some of it, I mean, still thank you. I mean, that's still a view. We'll take it. But please leave us your thoughts. Like, leave us what you think about it, what we can improve on, what you'd like to see in the future, stuff like that. What about you, Jacob?
Yeah. What was I going to say? I just completely lost my train of thought. We're going to be doing some more segments and stuff over the next weeks. Like, starting now, during the week, we're each going to give each other a movie to watch, and then we're going to come back and discuss it. And we're basically using it as an opportunity to make each other watch movies that we've been dying for each other to see. And check us out on Facebook. We don't have any social media or any of that shit yet, but check us out. Our Facebook group. Yeah, we'll post our letterbox links in the description, but we run a Facebook group called Indie Movie Discussions where we it's basically
we deeply apologize for the lack of indie movies on this podcast, considering we own Indie Movie Discussions. But I mean, there hasn't when an indie movie comes out. It'll be the focal point of our.
Yeah, I know. We're not just
talking about blockbusters.
This episode kind of sounded like the superhero show, but really, we're going to be talking about anything film related.
We love all cinema. I mean, especially because indie cinema has been much better than blockbuster cinema this year. Definitely.
Oh yeah, aside from some of the mentioned ones like Deadpool and Civil War, there've been a few other. Star Trek Beyond was really good as well.
And also, just disclaimer: even though we don't hate DC, maybe we beat up BVS and Suicide Squad, which will probably get us hate. A couple of times. We don't hate DC. We actually really love DC. One of my favorite, like my second favorite superhero movie of all time is V for Vendetta. That's DC. I love The Dark Knight. Love the old Batman movies. I love DC. Love
thanks,
The Flash. I'm watching it right now.
Thanks for listening to us air all of our insecurities for the last 5 minutes. And that's it for the show. Stay tuned for next week. Plenty more videos coming. Subscribe if you enjoyed it, and
comment.
share it with your friends. And
go watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
All that, watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We've not been paid by them to sponsor them.
We've definitely not been paid, but go check it out. It's on Netflix right now, all 3 seasons. This is brought to you by Loot Crate. No.
Audible.com.
Audible.com.
All right. That's it. We'll see you next week. Every weekend. Except for
cheers, guys, for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.